Paul Morphy was one of the best attacking players of all time. In this video I will teach you how you can play like Paul Morphy and use his strategies to win more games. I will demonstrate this by playing a game and explaining how you should play the Paul Morphy way of chess. So I'm starting with e4. I think it's the best move if you want to mimic Paul Morphy because of course we are immediately developing, well, at least opening the diagonal, I should say, for both the bishop and the queen. So that's why I think it's the best move, but you can use this playing style with other openings as well. Knight to f3, knight to c6, and I will actually play bishop here to c4 because I want to attack. You don't want to do any sacrifices that are not sound. You want to calculate everything, that's very important, but you do want to always develop your pieces in the most aggressive way, and I think we are doing that here. Instead of playing some normal move, I will try to channel my inner Paul Morphy, and I will play the Evans Gambit. I am going to attack. Why am I playing this? We are actually giving a pawn for free, which nowadays the engine thinks it's not the best opening anymore. But back in the day, yeah, of course, opening theory was not that well developed yet. So we can use this to win some time, to play pawn to c3 and to play pawn to d4. So immediately we are playing very aggressive chess. You might be thinking, well, you are just giving away a pawn. I mean, you cannot recapture this. That is true. But of course, we don't care about any free pawns. It's Paul Morphy chess. We are just attacking. So you can see we already have the bishop, queen lined up to attack. In the future, maybe the knight is going to join the attack as well. So I think we are at move 7 now, and already the position is quite complex. This is pinned. We might get a check here. The queen and bishop are working together, and our pawn is actually pinned. What would Paul Morphy play here? What I'm looking for is always the most aggressive option. So one thing I could, for example, think about is playing something like bishop here, which could potentially cut off this diagonal, but d6 basically solves the problem. I think in general we also have to play very aggressive moves because this is always hanging. So I think bishop to g5 would be a very good move. We are attacking the queen, so probably the queen has to slide over here and play a little bit more passively, and then we can continue from there. So that's a good move. We are developing, we are attacking. Paul Morphy would be proud of this move, and my opponent plays queen to g6. I don't really see any way to continue the attack right now. I mean, we cannot really use our knight. We don't want to drop our bishop. There are still some things happening here in the center, but I don't really care. I am just going to castle. My enemy's king is still in the center of the board, which means I still have some attacking opportunities. But I have to be quick. I have to develop and I have to attack. Black is playing h6. Of course, the first thing Paul would always calculate is, can I sacrifice? But yeah, sacrifice like this, it is not going to work. You could also probably think maybe we can activate an extra piece and just let it hang, but I don't think it's going to work. We need to retreat the bishop. I'm thinking, where do we go? Bishop d2 is possible, but it's a bit of a defensive move. I think maybe bishop to f4 would be interesting, targeting this, or maybe even bishop to h4. Because if the knight were ever to come out, for example, if we play this, there might be a line where we want to eliminate this knight as a defender as well, because this would ruin the structure. And here we might have some attacking opportunities as well. For example, this, and not actually taking with the knight, but for example, pinning the knight. Some complicated variation like this could happen. And then maybe we win the bishop. I'm already calculating some lines, but of course, I am actually not the most attacking player, so it's a bit difficult for me to try and think in the Paul Morphy style, but I'm trying. So I am going to put the bishop on h4 and try to attack. I don't know what black is doing. Probably they want to relieve some pressure here. And they want to give back a pawn. But I don't think I'm going to take it. I'm actually just going to pin this knight. We want to play the most aggressive moves first. So they are going here with the knight. We can always trade, and I'm thinking if there is any way that we can take here, but we do have to be careful that we don't run into any trouble with the queen. Maybe that was also part of black's strategy, right? If I had just taken this with the queen, they might have maybe just played rook b8. Actually not a bad strategy by my opponent, but we are not falling for that. So what are we going to play here? I'm trying to see what we have. I want to play something aggressive. So I'm thinking about either exchanging this defender, which could be interesting, and then maybe playing this e5 pawn push. I think that's a good plan. It is what we were thinking about. Always the most aggressive moves, always the attacking moves. I don't want to allow my opponent's king to have an opportunity to just castle. The queen is here. I'm actually just going to attack the queen again. They have to move the queen, and you can see we are finally succeeding in our setup. It's still complicated, but I think we can take this with a check. We do have to watch out that our knight here is currently hanging, but I think we can just go back. And by using the Paul Morphy strategy, I'm very happy. We are behind a bunch in material, but our opponent's king is also still in the center. So I see this as a big success. They are taking here. We don't want to lose a rook, so I think we do have to take this, and they are recapturing. A bunch of things are going on. We have to see if we can find the most aggressive move. So the enemy king is still in the center. That's one big thing that we have accomplished. We also have some free pawns that we can take, but honestly, I don't think Paul Morphy would slow down his attack just to grab some free pawns. I'm basically looking if we can get at the king. And I think some interesting moves are just activating one of our rooks. This rook is pretty passive. I think we could probably put it here. That would also come with an extra threat that, well, if I just make, that would actually be a terrible move. If I just make any move, we would actually be grabbing a free knight here as well. So yeah, I think it's fine. We are actually lining up a rook with the king, and we are also developing a piece and putting a simple threat. Okay, they are defending. Again, we just want to look for the attack. We are thinking that we are Paul Morphy. We want to attack. So I'm not going to go for any of these free pawns, although I do think that could probably be a good move, but I don't care about free pawns. I care about this king. We want to attack the king. I'm thinking maybe we can just play e6. We can just play e6. I mean, if they capture this, it's going to be extremely terrible. They would be losing immediately. If they don't capture, we're basically destroying the shelter in front of the king. And if they push this, I think now they might have some light squared issues on this side of the board. So I'm not going to go for any free pawns. We will attack. We're always going to attack. Pawn here to e6. Black is solidifying, which is actually not a bad move. Now somehow everything here is... everything is protected. But I'm going to destroy this pawn. Very smart by my opponent that they don't capture this with the king. Because of course they would be running into some trouble, and they would also be losing the queen. But you can see we are attacking. We are destroying their position. This is a little bit complex, I have to say. I do have to calculate. Maybe I should have calculated this a little bit earlier. Because I have to move my queen. I don't know, maybe I go here. So I can attack the knight. But I am maybe in a way losing this, and my knight is actually hanging as well here. But at the same time, we can also grab this knight for free. And this king is still in the center of the board, but this pawn is also very close to promotion. I think what Paul Morphy would do here is massive calculation. He would probably have played way slower than I did in this entire game anyways. But I don't want to drag the video out too long, so I think this is fine. We're going to see if the bot slaughters me or not. But it looks a little bit crazy. So we can take this free knight. All right. But maybe we can also attack. So I can take this free knight, and I think it's actually fine because I did do some calculation that we have this backwards rook. And yeah, black is not promoting. But I think maybe we can ignore everything and we can just go for the attack. Oh, by the way, I never even realized this. Yeah, our queen is also guarding it. So if we don't take the knight, we actually are guarding the promotion. But I'm thinking maybe we have this move. We are basically allowing them to escape with the knight. But this looks like it's going to be checkmate very soon. They have to take, and now we take with the queen. I don't know if I have to calculate something else. I think this looks incredibly strong, and wherever they go, we have checkmate. I think this is what Paul Morphy would play. We are just going to attack. That's a free knight. They are getting very close to promotion, but I don't think it matters. Plus, we are attacking this rook. Yeah, they are sacrificing the queen. I think this is the end of the game. We are attacking this rook as well. We are in check. I didn't even realize we are in check. All right, I have to move the king. Yeah, they are just sacrificing all the pieces. But of course, checkmate is unstoppable at this point, because we can do this checkmate with the rook, we can do this checkmate with the queen, but I'm gonna play something else. True Paul Morphy style. Queen f6. And that is also a checkmate, because the king is actually stuck behind its own pawn. So I hope you can use this strategy to start playing like Paul Morphy.